Tonight in Guatemala, political pressure continues after a contentious presidential election that's been littered with voter fraud allegations. The results over who will be headed to a runoff have yet to be certified. And in a never-before-seen move, the ballots now under review of the country's electoral Supreme Court. A controversial move that some say was instigated by frontrunner Sandra Torres and a group of political allies continuing to push a narrative of a stolen election. It's a decision critics say is threatening the democratic process of a country already stressed by decades of corruption migration, with many fleeing to the United States.
In this case, a page that was taken out of the U.S. playbook, and we saw it played in Brazil, and now we're seeing it being played in Guatemala, is the fact that you can distort election results to try to sort of, in effect, steal the victory from your opponent.
The initial results from the June 25th election surprised many. As the votes came in, 2 of the 20-plus candidates began to take center stage, including moderate reformist Bernardo Arevalo, who ran on an anti-corruption platform. Arevalo finished second behind former First Lady Sandra Torres.
Yo voté por Bernardo Arevalo, que representaba un cambio para Guatemala.
Somebody who had been polling at 3% of the vote in a very crowded presidential field ended up sort of somehow emerging from the pack and finishing in second place and qualifying for the runoff. So this took everybody by surprise.
On July 1st, Torres and her allies challenged these results. And a day later, the country's top court agreed to freeze the certification of election results. It's a decision many saw as undermining the people's vote, and it drew international scrutiny. The Organization of American States urging that the results be recognized, as Human Rights Watch called the move an abuse of the court system. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken described the actions as, quote, a grave threat to democracy. Today, electoral officials say the court-ordered review appears to uphold the original vote totals. Since neither candidate secured a simple majority, both are set to face off in a runoff this August.
Un ejecutivo que ya no va a perseguir a la gente, que no va a intentar utilizar las instituciones de justicia para criminalizar, acosar o encarcelar.
A critical vote in the shadows of mounting distrust of government, with ongoing corruption concerns over allegations that the current government has harassed, threatened, and imprisoned a number of judicial officials and journalists.
I think that there's very much a feeling among the Guatemalan citizens who have mobilized to defend the ballot box that they have power, that this is a citizens' movement and they have power, and that the backs of the autocrats are really against the wall.
All right, Ellison Barber joins us now on set. So, Ellison, as you mentioned in that report, there was mounting pressure going into this election. What was voter turnout like?
You know, it's really fascinating because I think where you see the biggest indication of where things are at in the country is who showed up to vote but actually didn't vote. Almost a fourth of voters that participated in this election, and turnout was relatively good, but about a fourth of the voters, around 17%, voted null or void, which is a protest vote, right? They're looking at these 29 candidates and they're saying, we don't trust this system. We don't necessarily feel like things are in a direction that we're comfortable with us. So we are not going to actually be voting in this, even though we're physically showing up. So that's the big question as we move towards August, is what do those people do? Do they make a decision to vote for the candidate that sort of was this dark horse that came up at the last minute, who has pushed for anti-corruption and more of a reform, pro-democracy platform?
Yeah, the anti-corruption candidate who now the world is talking about. Okay, Ellison Barber, we thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.